Okay, thank you. Senator Enrile.
My question is is this: do we have any idea who these hackers are? Are they residents of the country or foreigners? Second part of my question, and this is addressed to our banking people and especially the Central Bank and the Money Laundering Council, is what happened to Bangladesh possible to happen for this country? Is it possible that will also be hacked?
If I may, Mr. Chairman, answer because the Bangladesh Central Bank is a central bank. In the case of the Banko Sentral ng Pilipinas, we are alerted to these issues, Mr. Chairman, and the BSP has been taking measures to prevent situations, a hacking or an identity interception issue like this, Mr. Chairman. Speaking, that's for the BSP. And in addition, we have also issued regulation, that's Circular 808, that basically sets standards for our banks to have...
My question is it possible or probable that we can also be a victim of the same thing that happened in Bangladesh?
Mr. Chairman, I think all jurisdictions are at risk. Even jurisdictions like the United States are vulnerable to this. But we take measures to make this a low probability event, Mr. Chairman.
And what effort is being done by the central bank to find out the identities of these hackers, whether they are Filipinos or the hacking was done abroad or here?
I have no knowledge of that, Mr. Chairman.
You have none. You have not started any effort to find out.
Mr. Chairman, that's not a matter for the BSP, Mr. Chairman. With respect to this incident,
What jurisdiction in the government should do that? You're the one in charge of the entire banking system, isn't it?
Mr. Chairman, no Philippine bank was hacked.
What's your answer?
In the particular issue that we're discussing, Mr. Chairman, no Philippine bank was hacked or a
Yes,
victim
correct.
of cybercrime.
No Philippine bank was hacked. In this case, the Bangladesh government was the one victimized. Is it possible that the Philippine government could also be victimized by these hackers? That's the point of my interest here.
Mr. Chairman, if we're talking possibility, my answer was all actually are vulnerable to cyber attack, but there are measures that can be taken to reduce this risk. So in the case of the Philippine Central Bank or Banko Sentral, we have actually adopted measures to prevent these kinds of situations.
Now, let us assume that when we amended the money laundering law in 2013, we included the casinos in its coverage. Could this incident be prevented?
I don't know, Mr. Chairman, whether because these are two different things: the hacking and then the law.
I'm asking this because Attorney Dooc, no, was
Yes, sir.
telling us that my understanding of your presentation a while ago was that perhaps if we were more strict in strengthening the AMLA, this could have been prevented. Yeah.
Your Honor, I think had we put in place an effective law, like
what do you mean
including
by-
casino as a covered
Wait a
entity.
minute, what do you mean by effective law?
Well,
What are the things that you want to introduce in the AMLA law that are not there to make it effective?
well, as Your Honor, as discussed even by the legislators, and this I heard also from the interviews of those who took part in the enactment of the amendment, we could have added casino as covered entities already.
That's why I said, if we
Well,
followed your suggestion that we covered casinos,
had we done that,
how
Your
could
Honor,
this have been prevented?
we could have deterred the criminal elements from exploiting the deficiency in our laws.
For heaven's sake, Mr. Attorney Dooc, we don't even know who are the hackers. We do not even know who are these people who open these accounts. And Mr. William Go is here. He was yours. His name was yours. He has not done anything to find out why his name, of all the Filipinos and all the residents of this country, he was picked out as the person whose name was going to be used for the purposes of these hackers here in this case. How could have we prevented it? That's my question to you.
Yes, sir.
Because you're throwing blames here, you know, and I beg to differ with you.
I beg your indulgence, sir, but I'm not putting blame on anyone. The hackers may be nameless. They may be anonymous at this point. But what they do know is that we have deficiencies in our law.
So
So among the various jurisdictions, were the ones where the payment instructions were successfully executed.
So my question, I will go back to my question. If we included casinos in the 2013 amendment, would this incident, could have this incident been prevented?
It may help, but we have to understand that the funds, the monies were coursed through the bank, no? Eventually, it was transferred to the casinos, no?
It started with the bank. It went to the bank. Before it went to the casinos, it should have been reported already. You're in charge of this, no? So how come that you were not able to stop it in the level of the banks?
Sir, I am the Commissioner of Insurance. I'm an ex-officio of the
No.
AMLC.
Oh,
the
you're
council.
the one presenting the position of your organization here.
It's only because, sir, the chairman is out of the country on official business, and I'm the remaining regular member of the council.
Precisely, I'm
Yes.
asking you because you're representing your organization. If you were not able to stop it in the level of the banking system, how do you expect it to be prevented in the level of the casinos?
I think we have to approach it globally, no? The point of entry and the point where the money was eventually
What is the point
laundered.
what is the point of entry?
In this particular case, it's the banks.
Okay.
But then they were laundered through the casinos.
Well, but
So we have to approach
if your
it, sir.
level, if the level of the banks was effective enough, and it has, I think it has been effective for a long, long time. Nothing has happened yet, except of my own knowledge, except this one. Then, no one would have been victimized. I'm not defending the casinos, huh? I hope the government will run after the people involved. No, I'm just zeroing my question on your statement a while ago, that we must have a more effective money laundering law, by including everybody. How would you do it if you were crafting the law?
In all modesty, I have to look at it from a global perspective. The bank is just one sector.
I do not understand your global perspective. What is that?
We have to approach it from all sectors. The banking sector, the insurance sector, the security sector, and the casinos, the gaming industry. We should put in place all deterrents so that money laundering will not succeed in our jurisdiction.
I hope you will craft the legislation so that we will be educated. Is it possible or probable that we can also be a victim of the same thing that happened in Bangladesh?
Mr. Chairman, I think all jurisdictions are at risk. Even jurisdictions like the United States are vulnerable to this. But we take measures to make this a low probability event, Mr. Chairman.
Is what happened to Bangladesh possible to happen for this country? Is it possible that we'll also be hacked?
Event situations, a hacking or an identity interception issue like this, Mr. Chairman. Speaking, that's for the BSP. And in addition, we have also issued regulation, that's Circular 808, that basically sets standards for our banks to have.
My question is,
If I may, Mr. Chairman, answer because the Bangladesh Central Bank is a central bank. In the case of the Banko Sentral ng Pilipinas, we are alerted to these issues, Mr. Chairman, and the BSP has been taking measures to prevent.
Okay, thank you. Senator Enrile.
my question is this, do we have any idea who these hackers are? Are they residents of the country or foreigners? Second part of my question, and this is addressed to our banking people and especially the Central Bank and the Money Laundering Council.